Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, the billionaire businessman Donald Trump has told a cheering crowd in Arizona that he'll stand firm on his promise to build a 2,000-mile wall on the Mexican border if he is elected to the White House. His promise to stop illegal immigration came just hours after talks in Mexico City with the Mexican president, Enrique Peña Nieto. At a news conference afterwards, his tone was a little gentler than it has been so far during his campaign.
Mr. President, I want to thank you. It's been a tremendous honor. And I call you a friend. Thank you. They beat us at the border. People are flowing through. Drugs are coming across, pouring across. No one wins in either country when human smugglers and drug traffickers prey on innocent people, when cartels commit acts of violence, when illegal weapons and cash flow from the United States into Mexico. We have a tremendous deficit. We have a trade deficit with Mexico. When jobs leave Mexico, the U.S. or Central America, and go overseas, it increases poverty and pressure on social services, as well as pressures on cross-border migration. We're going to have our borders nice and strong. We're going to build the wall. We're going to build a wall. We recognize and respect the right of either country to build a physical barrier or wall on any of its borders. Who's going to pay for the wall? Who? We did discuss the wall. We didn't discuss payment of the wall. That'll be for a later date. This was a very preliminary meeting. I think it was an excellent meeting.
Well, that was Donald Trump speaking in Mexico and then a little later in Arizona. He set out in Arizona his 10-point plan to tackle illegal immigration. During the speech, he mentioned the wall again, but in a slightly different tone. And this time he did talk about who should pay for it.
On day one, we will begin working on an impenetrable, physical, tall, powerful, beautiful southern border wall. We will use the best technology, including above and below ground sensors, that's the tunnels. Remember that, above and below. Above and below ground sensors. Towers, aerial surveillance, and manpower to supplement the wall, find and dislocate tunnels, and keep out criminal cartels. And Mexico, you know that, will work with us. I really believe it. And Mexico will pay for the wall. Remember.
He went on to speak about what he thinks is wrong with the current immigration system.
The fundamental problem with the immigration system in our country is that it serves the needs of wealthy donors, political activists, and powerful politicians. It's all you can do. Thank you. Thank you. Let me tell you who it does not serve. It does not serve you, the American people. Doesn't serve you. When politicians talk about immigration reform, they usually mean the following: amnesty, open borders, lower wages. Immigration reform should mean something else entirely. It should mean improvements to our laws and policies to make life better for American citizens.
Well, let's talk more about this. Joining us live from Mexico is Eric Marcoset, who was born in Mexico and runs his own business in Mexico City. We're also joined by Republican and Donald Trump supporter Alex Chalgren. He's in Texas for us this morning. And Brian Bledsoe, who is also a Republican but is not convinced that Donald Trump is the right man for the top job. He's in South Carolina this morning. Thank you all very much for joining us. I'll come to you first of all, Eric, because you were at an anti-Trump rally in Mexico. Why are you opposed to Donald Trump?
I'm opposed to Donald Trump for a lot of reasons. I'm not sure I can figure out what he stands for. The constant flip-flopping, even on issues like Mexico, are troubling. The fact that he would bash Mexico and bash Mexicans and then come to Mexico just seems inconsistent. So if I understood what Donald Trump represented, maybe I would consider it. But he's a businessman. He knows what stability means to the business environment, and what we see from Donald Trump.
Sorry to interrupt. Where's the inconsistency? He's clear he wants a wall, but he struck a different tone in Mexico from the one he used later in Arizona. But obviously it's a different environment, isn't it, when you're delivering a speech versus talking to somebody on something that you want to achieve together?
Well, in the U.S. he's calling Mexicans rapists, and then he's in Mexico talking about Mexicans as valuable contributors. So what is his perspective on Mexico and Mexicans? What is his perspective on trade? One minute he's saying that he wants to eliminate NAFTA, and now he's saying he wants to adjust NAFTA. So I happen to think that NAFTA has been fantastic for both countries. Perhaps it needs some adjustment, but I'm for trade. I'm for fair trade. And I'm not sure where Donald Trump stands. Alex
Chalgren, you support Donald Trump.
Yes.
Do you see inconsistency in his position?
Absolutely not, Joanna. He has the same narrative. He wants to build the wall. He wants to deport the criminal, illegal aliens in this country. And he wants to create a better relationship with Mexico, but still have them build the wall and pay for that wall. And I don't see how there's a narrative change there. I disagree with Eric on that.
But if you want to make friends and influence people, is the rhetoric that he uses the right way to go about it? We're hearing from Eric that the sense in Mexico is that Mexicans are being bashed by Donald Trump, and people who don't even have a chance to vote in this election are coming out against him because of it.
Right. Quite frankly, Joanna, I think that's the media perpetrating him in this racist, bigoted way.
Why blame the media? It's the words are coming out of his mouth.
Well, no, he's corrected much of what he said. He's come out and said, I've offended some people, and I really am sorry about that. He's changed some of his ways, and I think that's something that needs to be brought up more and more and more.
Well, one thing he said, he had the meeting with the Mexican president, and he said, we did not discuss who pays for the wall. The Mexican president said, we did discuss it, and I said, we will not pay for it. Is that a trustworthy thing to come out and say one thing when it seems that the reality was different?
Well, I obviously don't know what the conversation was, because it was behind closed doors. But I am sure that whatever was discussed will be implemented when Trump is president, whether it does mean Mexico will pay for the wall, or whether it means that maybe we'll put more fees on the visas or things like that will pay for the wall. Who knows? But it will be done.
Brian Bledsoe, you've got reservations. You've had reservations about Donald Trump. Are you warming to him?
I will say that this speech tonight, last night, was one of his best speeches. I've heard him speak numerous times, but this is definitely one of his best speeches. He hit on a lot of the issues that I definitely think that he should stay on, whether it's passing Kate's law or defunding sanctuary cities, he had 10 obviously, and I definitely thought this was one of his best speeches. Now the thing about it is that he can say all of this right now, and then the next day he can do something or say something that will kind of negate everything, all the good that he has done tonight or last night. So that's my reservations. My concern is just the unpredictability as far as going back and forth on different things, and then and just having to deal with that.
So are you saying you just don't trust what he's saying? He's too much. He flip-flops too much, which is what Eric was saying.
Yeah, I mean that's my main issue. My main thing what I say a lot is that I pray for the sake of the country that I'm wrong about my reservations and my concerns about how I perceive how he goes back and forth. A lot of supporters say
so on
he's
immigration then specifically, because that's what he was talking about, he is clear he wants a wall, and he's also clear that if you've arrived in the States illegally, you've got no right to be there. Where's the room for confusion on that?
Oh well, I have as far as immigration, that's the one issue he has basically built his whole campaign on. So that is something I'm not so much wishy-washy on. That it's all the other policies that he comes out with, and that he will have to go the flip-flop on this and that, or say one thing and then come back and say another thing. But that's that whole unpredictability where I feel like I don't know where he stands on, and I don't know how strong he's going to be on these issues if he keeps being inconsistent in his statements.
Alex, he's making big promises, isn't he, when he looks at the figure of 11 million illegal immigrants living in the United States and says none of them will be immune or exempt from enforcement on his watch, although he does say he will prioritise how you remove people from the United States. He wants to build a wall, and he says it will be paid for by Mexico. Mexico says it won't pay. In the end, do you believe he can actually make good on the sorts of things he is offering up?
I believe when Trump says he's going to get something done, he's going to get it done. He's going to get it done well. That's a record he has in business. As Eric mentioned, he's a businessman. He makes deals. He knows how to get things done, especially when it comes to building. So, yes, when it comes to building that wall across the border and having Mexico pay for it, it will get done.
Thank you all very much. Alex Chalgren, Eric Marcoset and Brian Bledsoe, thank you very much.